The stars looked different from the Council space station. Kim June stood by the huge window watching ships of all shapes and sizes come and go. 3 months ago, he had been on patrol in the DMZ back on Earth. Now he was in space, guarding Earth's first diplomats to the Galactic Council. Still getting used to it? Asked Ambassador Park. June nodded. Yes, sir. I don't think anyone can get used to this quickly. The aliens feel the same about us, said the ambassador with a smile. They've been watching our TV shows for years. They think we're either very brave or very stupid. The Galactic Council had existed for over 10,000 years. More than 3,000 different alien species worked together in peace. They had found Earth 50 years ago but waited to make contact. They wanted to see if humans would destroy themselves first. When the aliens finally revealed themselves to Earth's leaders, the whole planet changed overnight. Humans learned they were far behind in technology, but they had something special. That surprised the aliens. Humans could adapt faster than any species the Council had ever met. Time for the reception, said Ambassador Park. Remember, no sudden moves around the Vex delegates. They see 10 times faster than we do, so they think humans move in slow motion. June straightened his dress uniform. As head of security for Earth's small team, he took his job very seriously. He followed the ambassador into the grand hall where hundreds of aliens gathered. Some floated in the air, others moved on many legs. Some didn't seem to have a body at all, just patterns of light or gas. Human delegation, welcome, said a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. I am Council Secretary Zorix. Please, join the gathering. June scanned the room, noting all exits and potential threats. Most aliens seemed curious about the humans rather than hostile. His eyes stopped at a figure across the room. She looked almost human, except her skin gave off a soft golden glow. Her hair seemed to float as if underwater, shimmering with light. When she turned, her eyes met June's. They were pure white, with no pupils. Yet somehow he knew she was looking right at him. That's Princess Hana of the Lumen, whispered Ambassador Park. Her species evolved from light itself. They're one of the oldest council members and very powerful. Be respectful. The princess smiled and walked toward them. Other aliens moved aside to let her pass. Welcome, people of Earth, she said. Her voice had a musical quality. I have studied your world with great interest. Ambassador Park bowed. We are honored, Your Highness. Please, just Hana, she said. We Lumen don't care much for titles. She looked at June. You're a protector, aren't you? I can sense it. June bowed slightly. Special Forces, Hana. I'm here to keep our delegation safe. Fascinating, she said. Most advanced species use drones or AI for protection. You humans still rely on your own kind. We trust humans more than machines, said June simply. That's what makes your species so interesting, said Hana. You're new to the stars, but you have qualities many older species have lost. You still know how to solve problems without technology. For the next hour, Princess Hana asked questions about Earth. She seemed especially interested in human art, music, and stories. June found himself relaxing in her presence, though he still kept watch over the room. Your job must be boring here, said Hana. The council station has had no violence in over 300 years. Before June could answer, the lights flickered. A loud boom shook the room. The perfect harmony of the reception shattered as aliens began shouting in different languages. We have a security breach in Section 12, announced a voice over speakers. All delegates moved to safe rooms. Ambassador. June pulled Park behind him, reaching for his weapon. Earth had been allowed to bring only simple stun pistols on the station. The big doors at the far end of the hall burst open. Figures in black armor rushed in, firing weapons that shot blue light. 3 council guards fell instantly. Void Consortium mercenaries, shouted an alien near June. How did they get past our defenses? June pushed the ambassador toward the nearest exit. Go, I'll find you at the safe room. He turned back to warn the princess, but she was already surrounded by 4 mercenaries. They weren't attacking her. Instead, they seemed to be protecting her from the chaos while moving her toward the door they had entered through. Help! Hana called out, her light dimming. They're taking me! Without hesitation, June ran toward her. One mercenary turned and fired. June dropped and rolled. the blue energy blast missing him by inches. He came up firing his stun pistol, hitting the mercenary in the chest. The alien staggered but didn't fall. "Human weapons are useless," laughed the mercenary, raising his gun again. June threw his pistol with perfect aim. It hit the alien's hand, knocking its weapon away. June closed the distance in seconds using his combat training. The mercenary was stronger, but June was faster. He knocked the alien down with a sweep of his leg, followed by a hard strike to its breathing apparatus. The other mercenaries were already dragging Hana away. One turned and threw something small that landed near June. It exploded with blinding light and sound. When June could see again, they were gone, taking the princess with them. Council security forces rushed in too late. The station went into lockdown. For hours, June answered the same questions from different alien officials. Yes, he had tried to stop them. No, he couldn't identify what species the mercenaries were. Their armor had hidden everything. 2 days later, June stood in a small conference room with Ambassador Park and 3 council leaders. One was Emperor Taiyang of the Lumen, Princess Hana's father. His light was dim with worry. "The Galactic Council has failed," said Emperor Taiyang. "No one can agree on what to do. Some blame the Orcs Collective. Others think the Orcs Federation is responsible. They argue while my daughter is held captive." "The Void Consortium left this message," said a reptilian council member, activating a screen. A distorted voice spoke. "We have the princess. We will contact you with our demands. Send a human negotiator alone when we call. No tricks, no tracking. Or she dies." "Why a human?" asked Ambassador Park. "We don't know," admitted Emperor Taiyang. "But I've been watching your soldier. He fought bravely for my daughter." June stood straighter. "I failed to protect her." "You tried when others ran," said the Emperor. "That matters to me." He looked at the other council members. "Leave us, please. I wish to speak to the humans alone." When the others had gone, Emperor Taiyang's voice dropped lower. "The council is paralyzed by politics. By the time they decide what to do, my daughter could be dead. I've studied your species. You humans act when others talk." "What are you suggesting?" asked Ambassador Park. "Council law forbids primitive species from conducting military operations in council space," said the Emperor. "But as a father, I care more about my daughter than laws." He looked directly at June. "I want to hire you, soldier. 1 warrior, as the kidnappers requested. Save my daughter, and I will give Earth technology centuries ahead of what the Council allows you to have." Ambassador Park looked shocked. "That would violate dozens of treaties." "1 human," said the Emperor. "Small enough to slip past defenses, creative enough to find solutions no council species would think of, determined enough to keep fighting when logic says to surrender." He held out his glowing hand to June. "Will you go?" June thought for only a moment before taking the Emperor's hand. It felt warm, like holding sunlight. "I'll bring her back," he said. Ambassador Park sighed. "I should forbid this." "But you won't," said the Emperor. "Because you know your species needs to prove its worth to the Council, and because it's the right thing to do." June nodded. "When do I leave?" "Now," said Emperor Taiyang. "Before anyone realizes what we're planning." He handed June a small device. "This will take you to a ship where my trusted aide, Minho, waits. He will fly you to the coordinates the kidnappers provided." As June prepared to leave, Ambassador Park grabbed his arm. "You understand you'll be alone out there? No backup, no support from Earth." June smiled slightly. 1 human is all they asked for. He checked his knife, the only real weapon he had been allowed to keep on the station. 1 human is all they'll need. The small ship hummed quietly as it moved through space. June sat in the co-pilot seat, watching stars streak by outside. He had never been on a ship this fast before. According to Minho, they had already traveled farther from Earth than any human in history. "We'll reach the edge of council space in 6 hours, said Minho. The young Lumen didn't glow as brightly as Princess Hana or her father. His light was pale blue rather than gold, and he seemed nervous. "You've done this trip before?" asked June. Minho shook his head. Never. I'm the princess's friend, not an explorer. But I'm the only one the Emperor could trust with this mission. He looked at June with curious white eyes. I've never met a human before the princess was taken. Why did you agree to this? You might not come back. June thought about the question. On Earth, I'm a soldier. My job is to protect people. It doesn't matter if they're human or alien. But you had no chance against those mercenaries, said Minho. Their weapons and armor are centuries beyond yours, yet you fought anyway. That's what humans do, said June simply. We don't give up just because we might lose. Minho seemed to find this both strange and impressive. The princess was right about your species. He turned back to the control panel. You should get ready. The Emperor provided some equipment for you. In the back of the ship, June found a small room with several metal cases. Inside the first was a device that looked like a wristwatch. Universal Translator, explained Minho from the doorway, more advanced than the one your diplomats use. It can translate any council language instantly. The second case held what looked like a small blue disc. Shield generator, said Minho. It creates an energy field around you that can stop most weapons. It won't last long against heavy fire, but it's better than nothing. The third case contained a sleek pistol. Energy weapon, said Minho. More powerful than your stun gun. Be careful with it. June examined each item carefully. The technology was amazing, but he didn't fully trust it. He opened his own pack and took out the items he had brought from Earth. A combat knife, rope, a small medical kit, water purification tablets, and other survival gear. Minho looked confused. Why bring those primitive things when you have council technology? Technology can fail, said June. These won't. He strapped the knife to his leg and the translator to his wrist. Tell me about where we're going. Minho activated a hologram showing a dark planet surrounded by an asteroid field. Shadowfall. It used to be a mining colony, but it was abandoned 50 years ago when the rare minerals ran out. Now it's a hiding place for criminals and others who want to stay hidden from the council. And that's where they're keeping the princess? Yes. The kidnapper's message included coordinates for a meeting point on the planet's surface. Minho looked worried. But I don't think they just want to talk. The Void Consortium doesn't care about money. They want to cause chaos in the council. Then why kidnap the princess? Asked June. And why ask for a human negotiator? I don't know, admitted Minho. But Shadowfall is dangerous. The atmosphere is toxic. You'll need a breathing mask. The gravity changes in different areas because of the mining operations, and the old tunnels could collapse at any time. June nodded, taking in the information. What can you tell me about these Void Consortium people? They're not just criminals, said Minho. They're revolutionaries. They believe the Council's peace has made species weak. They think struggle and conflict make species stronger. He looked at June. That's why they might be interested in humans. Your people still fight wars. Most Council species haven't had a real war in thousands of years. A warning light flashed on Minho's wrist device. 3 ships approaching fast. They're not Council vessels. They rushed back to the cockpit. On the screen, 3 small black ships were closing in on them. Consortium fighters, said Minho, his voice shaking. This ship has minimal weapons. We can't fight them. Can we outrun them? Asked June. No, and we can't enter hyperspace with them so close. Minho's hands moved over the controls. We need to call for help. No time, said June, looking at the asteroid field ahead. Let me take the controls. What? You don't know how to fly this ship. I don't need to be an expert, I just need to be unpredictable. June grabbed the control stick. How sensitive is this? Very. Like thought control. Minho didn't finish as June suddenly turned the ship hard to the right, diving toward the asteroid field. The enemy ships followed, firing energy beams that narrowly missed their ship. June's hands moved smoothly over the controls, guiding their vessel between massive rocks. What are you doing? We'll be crushed, shouted Minho. June didn't answer. He was fully focused, his eyes taking in the positions of the asteroids and enemy ships. He flew straight toward a large asteroid, then pulled up at the last second. One enemy ship couldn't turn in time and crashed in a bright explosion. "Two left," said June calmly. He twisted the ship through a narrow gap between two spinning rocks, then cut power briefly. Their ship dropped just as enemy fire passed overhead. As they fell, June targeted a loose cluster of smaller asteroids and fired the ship's small laser. The asteroids shattered, sending pieces flying in all directions. One of the enemy ships was hit multiple times, losing control and spinning away. "How? Did you know that would work?" asked Minho, amazed. "I didn't," said June. "But the asteroids follow rules, physics. The enemy pilots don't expect someone to use the environment as a weapon." The final enemy ship was closing in, firing constantly. June waited until it was directly behind them, then suddenly reversed thrust. Their ship slowed, causing the enemy to overshoot. In that split second, June fired all weapons. The enemy ship exploded into pieces. Minho stared at June in shock. "That was impossible. You just defeated 3 consortium fighters in an unfamiliar ship in an asteroid field." His light pulsed brighter. "How?" June smiled slightly. "Humans play video games." Minho didn't understand, but he was clearly impressed. "The princess said humans were special. Now I see why." They continued through the asteroid field more carefully now, knowing that the third ship, though damaged, might have sent a warning. After an hour, they emerged on the other side and saw a shadow fall. It was a dark world with swirling clouds of purple and black. No cities or lights were visible on its surface. It looked dead and uninviting. "The coordinates point to a location in the northern hemisphere," said Minho, "but I can't detect any structures there." "They'll be hidden," said June. "We need to find a place to land that's close but not too obvious." He studied the readings. "There, that valley. It has high walls that will hide the ship." As they entered the planet's atmosphere, the ship shook violently. Toxic clouds surrounded them, visibility dropping to nearly zero. June held steady, using the instruments to guide them down. They landed with a heavy thud on rocky ground. Outside, wind howled and dark clouds swirled. "We made it," said Minho, relief in his voice. June was already putting on his breathing mask and checking his equipment. The landing was the easy part. Now we need to find the princess. As he prepared to step onto an alien world for the first time, June thought about home. Earth seemed impossibly far away now, but he had a job to do. One human warrior, sent to do what armies of advanced aliens couldn't. "I'm ready," he said, and opened the door to face whatever waited on this dark world. The air on Shadowfall smelled wrong, even through June's breathing mask. The sky was dark purple with flashes of lightning in the distance. Strange rock formations rose like broken teeth from the uneven ground. "The meeting point is 8 kilometers, that way," said Minho, pointing to a range of jagged hills. His light was dimmed to avoid detection, making him look almost human except for his white eyes. "We're not going to the meeting point," said June. "It's obviously a trap. But the coordinates are meant to lure us in," June finished. "We need to find where they're really keeping the princess first." They set up a small base camp, hidden in a cave. Minho activated a scanner that projected a 3D map of the surrounding area. Most of it was empty, showing only rocks and old mining tunnels. But one section, about 5 kilometers away, was blank. "Something's blocking the scan there," said Minho. June nodded. "That's where we'll look first." "Shouldn't we wait for darkness?" asked Minho. "This planet doesn't have a day or night cycle like Earth," said June. "And we don't know what kind of sensors they have. I need to see the place with my own eyes." Leaving Minho at the camp, June began making his way across the rocky landscape. The changing gravity made walking difficult. In some places he felt as heavy as lead. In others he almost floated. He adapted his movements, using the strange gravity to help him jump across wide gaps or climb steep cliffs. After 2 hours he reached a ridge overlooking a valley. There, nestled against a mountainside, was a large metal structure. It looked like it had been built into the mountain itself, with only parts visible from outside. Guards patrolled the perimeter, different alien species wearing the same black armor he had seen during the kidnapping. June found a hidden spot and watched for hours. He noticed patterns in the guard movements. He saw where supply ships landed. He observed how the facility's shields flickered slightly every 4 hours, probably when they changed power sources. For 3 days, June studied the compound. He slept little, ate quickly, and kept watching. He mapped guard rotations in his head. He found blind spots in their security systems. He noted how the toxic atmosphere seemed to affect different alien species, making some sluggish after long shifts outside. On the 3rd day, he returned to the cave where Minho waited anxiously. "I was starting to think you weren't coming back," said the young Lumen. "I know how to get in," said June simply. He drew a rough map on the ground. The compound has 6 entry points. 5 are heavily guarded. But the 6th is an old mining tunnel they've converted to a waste disposal chute. It's only guarded by automated systems, no living guards. "How can you know all this just by watching?" asked Minho. "I saw what they throw away," explained June. "Lab equipment, food containers, broken machinery. I also saw the patrol patterns change when an alarm went off on the east side, probably a false alarm, but it showed me how they respond to threats." Minho looked impressed. "What's the plan?" "I go in alone," said June. "You stay with the ship and be ready to leave quickly. But if I'm not back in 24 hours, leave without me," June continued. "Take the information we have back to the Emperor." Before Minho could argue further, the communicator he carried beeped. It was a coded message from the Emperor. Minho read it and looked up with worry in his eyes. "Bad news. The Galactic Council is falling apart over this crisis. Some members are saying Earth helped kidnap the princess. Others think the Lumens staged it to gain more power. If we don't resolve this soon, Earth might be banned from Council space forever." June nodded grimly. "Then I'd better not fail." He checked his equipment one last time. The alien technology the Emperor had given him was impressive, but he also made sure his Earth tools were ready. "I'll go tonight." As darkness fell, though it was never truly bright on Shadowfall, June made his way back to the compound. He timed his approach carefully, using the planet's natural electromagnetic storms to mask his movements from sensors. The waste disposal chute was exactly where he had seen it, a large tube extending from the lower level of the facility, ending above a deep pit full of discarded materials. Guards avoided the area because of the toxic fumes from the waste. June waited until the security drones made their scheduled pass, then used his rope to climb up into the chute. It was barely wide, enough for him to crawl through. The smell was horrible even through his mask, but he kept moving, inch by inch in complete darkness. After 20 minutes of crawling, he reached a junction where the chute connected to the facility's internal disposal system. A laser grid blocked the way, designed to destroy waste, not stop intruders. June used the shield generator to create a small bubble that let him push through safely. Inside the facility, June moved like a shadow. He stayed in maintenance tunnels and air ducts, avoiding the main corridors where guards patrolled. His translator picked up conversations, helping him learn more about the facility's layout. He learned that the compound was a research station, not a prison, as he had expected. Scientists from different species worked there, many of them seeming excited about their projects rather than acting like criminals. After hours of careful movement, June found what looked like a laboratory section. The security was heavier here, with both guards and advanced sensors. He waited patiently for the right moment, when the power grid fluctuated during the shift change he had observed. When the lights dimmed briefly, June moved. He slipped past a sensor, ducked under a camera's view, and entered a large laboratory filled with complex equipment. And there, bending over a workstation, was Princess Hana. Her golden light illuminated the instruments she was using. She wasn't in chains. She wasn't being forced. She was working, focused intensely on something in front of her. June stayed hidden, watching as she spoke with other scientists. A tall insect-like alien and something that looked like a floating cloud of gas. They seemed to be working together, as colleagues, not captors and prisoner. He waited until the others left before making his move. Silent as a ghost, he approached the princess from behind. "Your Highness," he whispered. Hana spun around, her light flaring bright with surprise. June, how did you? She stopped herself, looking toward the door. You shouldn't be here, it's not safe. I came to rescue you, said June, confused by her reaction. Your father sent me. My father? She sighed, her light dimming slightly. Of course he did, but I don't need rescuing, June. I wasn't kidnapped. I left willingly. June stared at her. What? But the attack on the station was staged, yes, admitted Hana. I needed a way to leave that wouldn't implicate my father. The council is not what you think it is, June. She gestured to the laboratory around them. The Void Consortium isn't what you think either. Then what is all this? Asked June, struggling to understand. The truth, said Hana simply. She touched a control panel, and a large screen lit up showing hundreds of planets including Earth. The Galactic Council isn't a peaceful alliance of equals. It's a system designed to keep advanced species in power while controlling developing worlds like yours. June looked at the screen, then back at Hana. Why tell me this? Why ask for a human negotiator? Because humans are outside the system, she explained. Your species hasn't been corrupted by centuries of council politics, and because a loud alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed in the corridor outside. What's happening? Asked June, reaching for his weapon. Hana looked at a screen showing the exterior of the facility. We're under attack, but not by the council. Her face showed real fear now. It's the Nexus Dominion. They've found us. Who are they? Asked June. The real enemy, said Hana grimly. And now you have a choice to make, human warrior. Will you still try to take me back? Or will you help me protect what we're building here? The only hope your world has for true freedom in the galaxy. June didn't hesitate. Tell me what's happening while we move, he said, drawing his energy pistol. We can sort out the politics later. Relief showed on Hana's face. Thank you. She led him quickly from the lab into a corridor where other scientists ran in panic. The Nexus Dominion is a military group that has infiltrated both the Council and the Consortium. They want to rule the galaxy through force. The building shook as something hit it from outside. Alarms blared louder. Why are they attacking you? Asked June as they hurried down the corridor. Because of what we're developing here, said Hana. She stopped at a security door and placed her hand on a panel. It opened to reveal a room filled with complex equipment surrounding a glowing blue sphere. This is the equalizer. It can share knowledge instantly across species without council control. And that's dangerous to them? Very. The council maintains power by controlling who gets what technology. Another explosion rocked the facility. The Dominion wants the equalizer for themselves. With it, they could control all information in the galaxy. A group of scientists rushed in, led by a tall alien with 4 arms. Princess, we need to evacuate. The outer defenses are failing. Dr. G, this is June from Earth, said Hana quickly. The human negotiator. The 4-armed scientist looked at June with surprise. A human? Here? He seemed to recover quickly. No matter. We must secure the core research. Everything else can be rebuilt. Suddenly, the main screen in the room lit up. It showed the exterior of the facility where black ships were landing. Soldiers in sleek armor poured out, firing weapons that cut through the compound's defenders easily. They're inside the main entrance, shouted someone over the communication system. Dr. G turned to a control panel. I'm activating emergency protocols. Princess, you must reach the escape vessel. He looked at June. Can the human fight? Better than you think, said June. He checked his weapons. What's the plan? We have 3 priorities, said Hana. Get our people to safety, protect the research data, and destroy the prototype so the Dominion can't take it. I can handle the first 2, said Dr. G. But destroying the prototype requires manual override inside the core chamber. It's too dangerous. I'll do it, said June. You don't understand, said G. The core chamber is flooded with radiation. That's fatal to most species. Most species, repeated June. What about humans? Hana and G exchanged looks. Unknown, admitted Hana. Your biology is different. You might survive longer than others, but the facility shook violently. The lights flickered. We're out of options, said June. Tell me what to do while you get everyone out. Dr. G quickly explained the shutdown procedure while Hana organized the evacuation. Within minutes, they had a plan. G would lead the scientists to the emergency ships. Hana would secure the research data. June would destroy the prototype. We'll meet at the secondary landing pad, said Hana. She touched June's arm. Be careful. As they separated, June heard gunfire getting closer. He moved quickly through the corridors, using his translator to follow the signs to the core chamber. Twice he encountered Dominion soldiers and had to hide. They were tall, strong aliens with enhanced armor that made them look more machine than living being. When he reached the core chamber door, he found it locked. The control panel was damaged. June thought quickly. He took out his knife and pried open the panel, exposing the wires inside. Using skills he learned in Special Forces training, he bypassed the security system. The door slid open. Inside, the air shimmered with blue light. The core itself was a column of swirling energy in the center of the room. June could feel the radiation immediately, a tingling sensation on his skin that quickly became painful. He didn't have much time. He moved to the main control station and began the shutdown sequence Dr. G had described. The core's light pulsed faster as he worked. His skin was burning now, but he kept going. The shutdown was almost complete when the door behind him exploded. 3 Dominion soldiers entered, weapons aimed at him. Behind them stood Dr. G. Step away from the controls, ordered G. All pretense of friendship gone. You're working with them, said June, understanding immediately. You betrayed Hana. G smiled coldly. The Dominion understands power. The Council is weak. The Consortium is naive. He gestured to the core. That technology belongs to the strong, not idealists like the princess. Good thing I already initiated the overload sequence, lied June, watching G's reaction carefully. Alarm flashed across the alien's face. Stop it, now. I can't. It's too late. June kept his hand near the actual overload button, hidden from view. This whole place will explode in 2 minutes. G rushed to the controls, pushing June aside. While G frantically checked the system, June used the distraction to reach for his energy pistol. In one smooth motion, he fired at the ceiling above the soldiers. Part of it collapsed, temporarily trapping them under debris. G turned back, realizing the trick. There's no overload, he shouted, reaching for his own weapon. June was faster. He tackled G to the ground, the radiation making his movements painful but not stopping him. They struggled briefly, but June's combat training gave him the advantage. He knocked G unconscious, then quickly pressed the actual overload button, the E. Core began to pulse with red light now. A computerized voice announced, "Core destabilization initiated. Explosion in 5 minutes." June's skin was blistering from the radiation, but he ignored the pain. He grabbed G's security badge and ran from the chamber. The corridors were chaos now, with emergency lights flashing and occasional gunfire. He needed to find Hana and make sure she escaped safely. He found her in the data center downloading files as alarms sounded around her. "June, you're hurt," she cried when she saw his radiation burns. "No time. G betrayed us. He's working for the Dominion." Hana's light dimmed with shock. "G, but he's been with us from the beginning." "He wants the technology for the Dominion," said June. "I've started the core overload. We have about 4 minutes to get out." They ran together toward the emergency exit. The facility was falling apart around them, hit by both the Dominion attack and the beginning of the core meltdown. They had to change course twice to avoid collapsed sections. When they reached the landing pad, they found a small ship waiting, but also a squad of Dominion soldiers guarding it. Hana pulled June behind cover before they were seen. "There are too many," she whispered, "and we have less than 2 minutes." June scanned the area. He noticed the landing pad's fuel lines running along the ground and the facility's fire suppression system nearby. An idea formed in his mind. I need a distraction, he said. Hana nodded. She stepped out briefly and sent a pulse of blinding light from her body. The soldiers turned away, momentarily blinded. In that instant, June fired at the fire suppression tanks. Foam sprayed across the landing pad, covering everything in slippery white material. While the soldiers struggled to keep their footing, June shot the fuel line. Liquid fuel spread under the foam, unnoticed by the soldiers. He and Hana circled, around the confusion. When I say run, sprint for the ship, whispered June. He aimed his pistol at the mix of fuel and foam. Now! They ran as June fired. The fuel ignited, creating not an explosion but a wall of fire and smoke that separated them from the soldiers. They reached the ship, and Hana quickly started the engines. As they lifted off, the first explosions from the core began to tear the facility apart. The ship rocked in the shockwave, but Hana's piloting kept them stable. They shot away from the planet just as the main explosion turned the entire compound into a fireball. Where's Minho? Asked June suddenly, remembering his companion. Already safe, assured Hana. I sent him a warning when the attack started. She looked at June with concern. We need to treat your radiation burns. June nodded, suddenly feeling the full pain of his injuries. So what happens now? We've lost the prototype. But not the research, said Hana, holding up a small data device. And we've exposed a Dominion agent. The Council will have to listen now. She began treating his burns with a medical device. The question is, will you help me tell them the truth about everything? About how the Council treats worlds like yours? June looked out at the stars. Earth seemed very far away. But he thought about what this meant for his planet's future. I'll help, he said simply. Truth is worth fighting for. 3 weeks later, June stood outside the great doors of the Galactic Council chamber. His radiation burns had healed thanks to advanced lumen medicine, though he still felt tired sometimes. Beside him, Princess Hana looked nervous, her golden light flickering slightly. Are you ready? She asked. June nodded. As ready as I'll ever be to tell thousands of alien leaders they've been fooled. The massive doors swung open. Inside, the council chamber was enormous, with rising tiers of seats, filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds. Emperor Taiyang sat at the center table with other council leaders. When he saw his daughter, his light brightened visibly. As June and Hana walked to the center of the chamber, whispers spread through the crowd. Many aliens stared at June with curiosity or suspicion. Princess Hana of the Lumen, announced a council official, and Kim June of Earth. Emperor Taiyang spoke first. My daughter, we feared you lost. The council has been in chaos since your disappearance. I was never lost, father, said Hana clearly, her voice carrying through the chamber. I left willingly. To continue work the council tried to stop. Loud murmurs filled the room. A tall reptilian alien stood. You claim you were not kidnapped? Then why the attack on the station, why the deception? Because the truth was too dangerous to speak openly, said Hana. She gestured to June. This human was sent to rescue me. Instead, he helped uncover a plot that threatens all our worlds. June stepped forward, I was sent to bring back Princess Hana. But what I found was bigger than one mission. The Nexus Dominion has agents in both the Council and the Void Consortium. They attacked the research facility on Shadowfall to steal technology that would give them control over all information in the galaxy. Preposterous, said a blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. The Dominion is a minor group of extremists. They could never infiltrate the Council. One of their agents was Dr. G, said Hana, a respected scientist who worked with my team for years. She activated a small device that projected images above the chamber floor, security recordings showing G working with the Dominion soldiers. The council chamber erupted with voices. Emperor Taiyang called for order, but the noise continued. Suddenly all communications in the room shut down. The lights flickered. The main screens activated on their own, showing a face June recognized, Dr. G. Greetings, esteemed council, said G with a cold smile. I see the princess and her human pet have reached you. How unfortunate. How are you accessing our secure systems? demanded the Reptilian Council member. The same way we've been monitoring your communications for years, replied G. Your security has more holes than a Zentarian cheese farm. He looked directly at June. You should have died on Shadowfall, human. The radiation in the core chamber was supposed to kill any living thing. Humans are surprisingly hard to kill, said June calmly. G's smile faded. No matter, the prototype was destroyed, but we've already started building a new one. And this time, there will be no one to stop us. The screen went blank. The council erupted again, this time in fear and accusations. Species blamed each other. Some suggested immediate military action. Others wanted to retreat to their homeworlds. Emperor Taeyang stood, his light blazing so bright it made everyone stop and look. Enough, he shouted. This is exactly what the Dominion wants, to divide us with fear. He turned to June. Human, you've seen more of this threat than anyone here. What do you suggest? All eyes turned to June. He felt strange. A simple soldier from Earth addressing the most powerful beings in the galaxy. But he knew what needed to be said. The Dominion thinks they know everything about you, he began. They've studied your patterns, your technologies, your political divisions, but there's one thing they didn't count on. And what is that? Asked a council member skeptically. Humanity, said June simply. We're new, unpredictable. We don't follow the patterns they've studied for centuries. He stepped forward, looking around the chamber. Princess Hana was working on technology to share knowledge equally among all species. The Dominion wants that technology to control information. But what if we created something they couldn't control or predict? Hana's light brightened with understanding. A new kind of alliance, she said, not based on technological advancement or military power, but on diversity of thought. Exactly, said June. Earth is just one world, but we have thousands of cultures, languages, and ways of thinking. Imagine what all the worlds of the Council could do if we shared our unique perspectives instead of hoarding them. Minho, who had been standing quietly at the side, stepped forward. That's why the human defeated those Dominion soldiers when I couldn't. It wasn't superior strength or technology. It was unpredictable thinking. The Dominion studies patterns, but humans break patterns. For hours the Council debated. Some members resisted, afraid of change. Others saw the wisdom in June's words. Finally, Emperor Taeyang called for a vote. We will form a new division within the Council, he announced after the votes were counted, focused on counter-Dominion operations led jointly by Princess Hana and representatives from Earth. Hana turned to June with a smile. We did it. You did it, corrected June. I just helped a little. Later, June stood on an observation deck overlooking Earth. After weeks in space, seeing his home planet filled him with emotion. It looked so small against the vastness of space, yet so important now. Hana joined him, her light soft and warm. Beautiful, isn't it? Yes, agreed June. I never thought I'd see it from this view. Your world is going to change quickly now, said Hana. With the Council's new approach, Earth will advance faster than any world in history. She looked at him. The Emperor is offering you any reward you want. Advanced technology, a high position in the new Council division, even a ship of your own. What will you ask for? June thought for a moment. Nothing for myself, but I want Earth to advance on its own terms. Give us knowledge, but let us develop it our way. The Council tried to make all worlds follow the same path. That's why you became weak against threats like the Dominion. Hana nodded. You want Earth to keep its humanness. Exactly. Our greatest strength isn't our technology or weapons. It's our ability to think differently, to adapt to any situation with whatever we have. June smiled slightly. One human with a knife was more dangerous to the Dominion than an army with advanced weapons, because they couldn't predict what I would do. Is that why you're going back? Asked Hana. You could stay here, help lead the new alliance. Earth needs to know what's coming, said June. We need to prepare, but not by becoming like everyone else in the galaxy, by staying human. Hana's light brightened with understanding. Perhaps that's why the universe brought our worlds together. You needed to know you're not alone in the stars, and we needed to remember what it means to face the unknown with courage. As the ship prepared to take June home, he looked out at the stars one last time. The galaxy was bigger and more dangerous than humans had ever imagined. But for the first time, June felt certain that humanity would find its place among the stars, not by becoming like other species, but by remaining uniquely, unpredictably human. And that was a strength no enemy could ever take away. The end.